Let's try the next spot, which is supposed to work quite well again, maybe even here on mussel. So, one of the really simple and important spots here at the Bernstein Lake. And all of this even without ground bait mix. Especially if you can't make a ground bait mix yet, such a spot can of course be extremely helpful if you want to earn a bit of silver already, to then invest the silver again into ground bait mixes. Ground bait mixes for carp fishing, absolutely essential. But for now, I'm testing the spot, just plain without any ground bait mix, to see what kind of fish are actually here at the spot. Because only when we know which fish are at the spot, we can also create a ground bait mix for the fish that are at the spot. So if we now want to target common carp, we have to create a matching ground bait mix for common carp, and so on and so on. So depending on the fish species, create the ground bait mix. That's still not really widespread knowledge. And I think this information, it'll take a long time before it really spreads throughout the RF4 world, that you don't create the ground bait mix based on the bait. Oops. But not based on the bait alone, but rather based on the fish you're targeting. So different fish species, different ground bait mixes, and then you have the free choice of baits to vary which flavors are working right now. With the same method, I also fished for barbel recently. So used a relatively neutral ground bait mix for barbel, pre-baited with that, tested what works, and then afterwards, I tweaked this neutral ground bait mix a bit more towards mussel flavor. And that worked great too. If you're not that far yet with the fishing feed preparation, you can already make a decent ground bait mix just with the simple components you've unlocked. For example, in position 1, we have corn as an ingredient and maggots. At level 2, we'd already have, for example, cheese in there, or even egg. And at level 3, we'd have a nice base, oat flakes, peas, also included. These are all components you can use really well for carp fishing, and you should skill up to level 3 anyway to unlock the bream ground bait mix. And after that, you can take a bit of a break and first invest the silver you've earned into a much better setup. Yeah, and that's what a ground bait mix looks like. That's absolutely basic. So with level 3 skill points, we now have the oat flakes base in there, corn, biscuit, pea, maggot, all nice components you can use for carp fishing. In this case, I also added vanilla because it's also included in the original carp ground bait mix. And with that, you've got a nice basic carp mix. And I'll make it just like that now, and we'll keep testing with it. So I've just cast it out at 8 meters, I've set the clip at 8 meters, and accordingly I have to see how far we can cast here. Yeah, I think a little further. Yeah, that's working quite well. So just under half loaded, and then we'll throw in some ground bait balls. That's already a good base. 100 grams of ground bait mix here at the spot is really not bad at all. And then towards the evening hours, I might throw in 2 or 3 more ground bait balls. And then that's all good for now. So what do we have here? Even without a ground bait mix, definitely still lots of common carp. And as I said, for the bait, I just came over here from the barbel, and I'm simply using corn mussel, nothing fancy in here. Size 1 hook, a short leader of only 15 centimeter, mussel green, mussel dip, done. Now, with this basic ground bait mix, we also have the possibility to test all sorts of other baits. So, we can now just take any corn, cast each rod with a different corn, and simply see which type of corn, which bait the fish at this spot bite on best. And with this method, we have the opportunity to really stay here steadily. You can stay here for 2 hours until the spot is completely fished out. And then keep testing different bait flavors. Keep trying. As I said, just with the size 1 hook, take the different types of corn and rotate through one after the other. I'll just add salmon here, use the salmon dip, and then we'll keep testing for salmon. And here's the next one. It's working too. Coconut cream or cream also always works pretty well. So we'll also put some cream on here, cream as a dip, and again just cast it out. And the next one. Now, we could also take vanilla, we already have that as an aroma in the ground bait mix, or maybe try something completely different, like a spice or something fruity. That works too. Black currant, for example, also an absolute classic for carp fishing. Yeah, and so we now have the opportunity with this neutral ground bait mix to test a lot. Keep a spot active for a long time with different baits. And when we then know that a handful of baits work really well here, we can still say, okay, let's take a ground bait mix. And then, for that ground bait mix, maybe adjust the aroma. Let's say the blackcurrant is suddenly working really well. Then we just take this basic ground bait mix as it is and simply add a bit more blackcurrant flavor to it. Or additionally, we might take one component out. Maybe, in this case, we'd remove the biscuit and we could also add blackcurrant as feed pellets. Important, one time is absolutely enough. That's an official RF4 information. Multiple feed pellets don't help much. One feed pellet application is absolutely sufficient. And with that, you can then keep fishing the spot in a very targeted way. Right now, I'm also looking for the last rares here. So we still have the task, catch rare fish species, and I've already caught 2 small ones here at Copper Lake. But maybe I'll also catch, just in bulk here, an albino carp or something like that. So some rare one will definitely bite here soon. Just keep standing here, fish in bulk, at high frequency, and at some point, another rare carp will bite too. And apart from that, it's always a good method to make steady silver here, farm XP, and if at some point the spot gets tired, it doesn't work anymore. You can just turn around and maybe cast over here towards the 2 trees in the shade at around 15 meters. That works really well too. And then you'll have another 2 hours or so at that spot, and after 2 hours, this spot will have regenerated again, and then you can continue fishing at this spot again. And let's keep going here with salmon. Ah, look, the fish flavors seem to be working pretty well right now. But in this case, it's switched from common carp to mirror carp on the salmon. And accordingly, we can see what kind of flavors the fish are interested in with the different aromas. That's all about carp fishing. Just rethinking the whole carp fishing thing a bit. Create the ground bait mix based on the fish species and not based on the bait. Tight lines, guys. If it helped you, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you in the next video or in the live stream, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, always from 7 p.m.